On April 22nd, 1916, McNish finished his work and the weather cleared. Moored offshore, the Caird was loaded with 2 tons of stone ballast for stability in the towering waves. Water from ice laboriously melted over a blubber flame was stored in kegs. They took food for 4 weeks. Beyond this, they knew they could not survive. Standing back on the beach, Hurley captured the moment of departure as the men left behind bravely cheered the Caird on her way. On board the Caird, Worsley reflected.
The men ashore formed a pathetic group. As long as they thought we could see them, they kept up a wonderful appearance of optimism and heartiness.
Elephant Island receded into the distance as the Caird departed on a day of rare sunshine and calm seas. Soon, the Caird was in rougher waters. By the second day, the weather had grown severe, and water began pouring into the little boat. Frank Worsley recalled.
Bruised and soaked with never a long enough interval for our bodies to warm our steaming clothes, our feet and legs had swelled and began to be superficially frostbitten, with the temperature at times nearly down to 0.
McNish alone attempted to keep a sea log, but on the 9th day he abruptly broke it off. They worked round the clock in 4-hour shifts. 3 men vainly attempting to sleep on the rocky ballast below, while 3 others held watch above, bailing, pumping, trimming the sails, fighting to keep the Caird afloat.
They were in a 22-foot-6 little rowing boat, and it is absolutely staggering, the height of the waves. I mean, there were some incredible waves, and some which might nowadays be called non-negotiable waves, where you'd head up to the top, and you might not even get over the top, and you'd slide back down. So it was an extraordinary journey of survival.
In the end, everything depended on Worsley. He had learned to navigate in the high surf of the South Pacific, but nothing could compare to his present challenge. To chart the Caird's position, Worsley needed to read the sun's relation to the horizon. But the sun rarely appeared in the overcast sky, and the horizon became almost impossible to find behind the waves. Even to attempt a sextant reading, he had to be braced by men on either side, as the boat heaved and pitched her way through the water.
You mustn't forget, every degree mistake you make is 60 miles of latitude, and they only had about 10 miles leeway in 800 miles in order to reach safety.
In 800 miles of stormy travel, Worsley was able to take only 4 sightings. The remainder of the journey he navigated by dead reckoning. The experienced sailor's instinctive gauging of speed and direction, or merry guesswork as he called it. On the 10th day, Worsley believed that they were a little over halfway. He recalled,
2 of the party were very close to death. Shackleton kept a finger on each man's pulse. Whenever he noticed that a man seemed extra cold and shivered, he would immediately order another hot drink to be prepared and served to all. He never let the man know that it was on his account.
Vincent's upper lip was torn away by a frozen metal cup.
Oh God, it must have been desperate. That's all I can. It must have been desperate. My father's ears, his 2 ears, suffered frostbite. They were like bones.
On the evening of May 7th, the 14th day at sea, a piece of kelp floated by. Land was near. Worsley recalled this moment.
We looked at each other with cheerful, foolish grins. The thoughts uppermost were, we've done it.
With land in sight, new ordeals arose to test their limits. A wind drove them perilously close to the island's cliffs. Soon this wind increased into hurricane force, descending upon them from the darkening skies.
This is where Worsley came into his own, because he understood the way a sailing ship worked. And so he performed a miracle there with a round-bottomed whaler whose profession was making leeway, not built for sailing into the wind. Somehow he clawed his way offshore and into the wind.
The hurricane raged for 9 hours. Then the wind veered, carrying them from destruction. Shackleton recorded,
I stood offshore, tired almost to the point of apathy.
On the evening of May 10th, the 17th day at sea, the James Caird sailed into the entrance of King Haakon Bay on South Georgia. In the gathering darkness, the boat ran in on a swell and touched the beach. A small stream flowed nearby, and the men fell to their knees and drank. One of the greatest boat journeys in modern maritime history had ended.